People, deluded. If you're not going to take anything away from my videos, people, make sure you download the One Football app. It's a terrific application developed by the guys over at the One Football Network. Make sure you visit my description for more of that. If you don't want to do that, go on the One Football Network website. It's a terrific application, people. I can't just say that enough, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of it. Why I like it? It allows me to stay on top of every bit of information there is in regards to football. It doesn't matter if it's transfer speculation, results, fixtures, manager talking points, player talking points. They have everything covered, and the sheer velocity and in-depth of some of the content, you can't put a price on it, people. The one big feature I like out of everything, when it comes to transfers, they've got it on top. They tell you exactly where the rumour or the information was first brought out, more or less. And it tells you how the strength of the rumour. And it also tells you what that could mean for the team moving forward with fellow supporting articles. It is the #1 application for the general football fan. And in fact, not even the general football fan, the honest football fan. The fan that really loves football. If you really love football, you'll download the One Football app, people. Because for me, it is the best on the market. Like I said, link is in the description. Visit their website. Link is in the description. Link is in the description. Link is in the description. People, I don't want you lot to do yourself a disservice, and you lot are the real followers because you follow me. Make sure you download the One Football app. People, deluded, I'm out. People, deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A days. Thank you very much for all the questions you lot came in with and all of these sort of things, people. Without the questions, it can't happen. Just before I check, I know constructive criticism is a good one, but you lot never allow me. Can you see all of my face? Is everything cool? Like, are we all good, people? Banter aside, let's crack on, man. Admittedly, people, I've made a rookie mistake, and obviously by now you've gathered it's on this phone. Well, that's how we've been rolling for the last couple of episodes. Ooh, this phone screen's got a new crack, so once this is finished, this is really finished. But in the meantime, people, as you lot know, I've been using this. It's on low battery, and we're actually, taking a risk. We're on 14%. I reckon it'll be alright, but yeah. Let me find you lot's questions. Wait, why is it out? Why is it? Oh, here we go. I don't know if you lot can see, people, but my question tabs, like the community bit, it's all shaded out. I don't know why it's doing that, but it took a while to guess which post I needed. But cracking on, people. Noah's asked me, DG, thank you for your question, Noah, man. Do you think the strikers in our youth team are good enough to fill the boots of Lacazette and Aubameyang in a few years? And which of them has the highest ceiling? Bro, you know me, I'm a big fan of documenting. I watch youngsters, I judge potential, but you never really know. As for potential, who knows? Who actually knows? At this moment in time, I would say it's a big ask for any of these young players. But I back them. Right now, obviously, I can't see it, but I back them. It's difficult because you all know when it's a striker, certain positions, when you're a striker, it's hard for young players to get chances. And when it is, there's scrutiny. And at the end of the day, like I need to be able to see that Tyrese John Jules, for example, and Eddie can get 20 league goals. Currently, they're young players; they cannot do that in the league. If they're given a chance, it's another matter. Just let them develop. Right now, I'd have to say no because obviously they're still developing. But who knows, man? I definitely back both to be involved in the squad at some capacity, man. You know, I'm a big fan of Tyrese John Jules. In regards to the highest ceiling, I don't know, my guy, man. I don't know. I feel Eddie can be a great player. I feel Tyrese John Jules can be a very good player. I feel a lot of his, obviously, ultimately, strikers will be judged on goals and goals alone. But I think Tyrese John Jules in particular has a lot to his game, bringing other people in, back to goal. Sometimes, if he could add a tiny bit more urgency into his game, like seeing the proactive, because he sees the picture early, because he plays the passes, he'd be a complete player, man, in a couple of years. In regards to which one has the highest ceiling, I don't know, man. But I'm a big fan of all our young strikers. Balogun as well. I know he's not in the first team picture right now. I'm interested to see what we do with Sam Greenwood because right now he's a striker. He's made his name as a striker. Last season for the under-18s, predominantly on the right-hand side, or the last couple of fixtures towards the end of the season, he found that. Obviously, he can play on the left. And I don't think you can rule out the sort of 10 position, that sort of role behind the striker for him, because he's got a lot. I feel personally Sam Green was the best two-footed player in this club since Santi. Him and Santi would be interesting. Some of the things I see Green would do, I'm amazed, because he's like, he does things. He's not Van Persie, but he has Van Persie elements to him, like the way he strikes a ball, the free kicks. I would have loved to have been both-footed. I think he's got the bravado as well. So I don't know which one has the highest ceiling, my guy, but I'm going to enjoy seeing their development paths. BM's asked, DG, what are your thoughts on We Care Do You movement? Well, bro, first and foremost, I respect it. I respect any movement that's trying to get any club to listen to the fans, to improve ultimately, and all of these things. I respect it. It's done its job in terms of at least the owner or the owner's son had to issue a reply, and maybe the whole we're signing expensive players, big players, all of these sort of things. Maybe that language was used to kind of calm things down, really and truly. So I salute it, man. I salute it. I salute any group of fans that wants to get their voice heard, provided they do it in a cool way, which I don't know who started it, but Arsenal fans have done. And it's gaining traction. So at the end of the day, it's a start. It's not going to change anything right now, but it's a start. Yeah, it definitely did more than other certain measures, people. What's going on? It's early in the morning. I need some water, people, man. But apologies for that. Cracking on. Thank you for your question, BM. DS Boss has asked, which youth players do you hope to see be a first team starter this season? It's tough, but I would like to see Saka get some more opportunities, in particular, because I feel you're seeing Greenwood at Manchester United. Obviously, what he's doing and his situation is different to Saka's, but if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is talking about Mason Greenwood can possibly start against Chelsea, then Saka must be able to get involved. I would love to see Saka. That would be the one for me. Love to see Amici get chances. If you're talking about first team starter, like really first team, like right now, I'd say Reece Nelson. I really want to see it, man. He's number 24 this season. Want to see him under the lights at Arsenal, really and truly, week in, week out. Yeah, he's made his debut, been involved in Europa League, Premier League. He's went out on loan, and I've watched him, and you've watched him from afar. But I want him under the wing, under the lights, man, because I'm not saying he can be this, that, and the other, but Nelson's an exciting player. I want to see him have a good season, potentially next season get that number 7 shirt. I do think he's the one to kind of put respect back on that shirt, if not somebody else, man. This is all off the back of wingers coming into the club, so I'd like to see them, to be fair with you. Diabolical, you're a good guy, man. Spurs fan, that name always makes me laugh. You've asked me top 4 predictions this season. Well, bro, should really ask me at the end of the season, because it will probably change. But right now, Liverpool and City probably still shoe-ins. I'd say Arsenal, but Chelsea, I don't know what's going to happen with Lampard and the transfer ban and all of these things. Arsenal and United look like we have to go back to basics a lot, and you see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I've just mentioned Mason Greenwood, and you've signed Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, moving forward with these sort of players that they can do. So United and Arsenal might be in trouble. I hope obviously it's more so United. Chelsea, I don't know what I'm going to get from them. I'll give it to Chelsea on the basis they got Champions League this year, but the 3 teams in my heart, don't say Spurs in my heart, but that I believe are going to get this thing, probably be City, Liverpool, and I'd have to probably say Spurs right now, because I don't know what Chelsea's on. I don't know what I'm going to get from Arsenal, and I don't know what I'm going to get from United. And at least with Spurs, they might have... Technically, Spurs haven't had a good season last year, but I'm sure if they looked at the Premier League campaign alone, isolated, they would think they possibly could have done better. But they still managed to get top 4. They've got an experienced bunch of players that have been together for a while. I say that, I don't know what is going to happen, because you've seen Trippier leaving. Toby Alderweireld's got the release clause that is expiring soon, but there's Roma talks. Jan Vertonghen won't leave this season, but contracted until 2020. Rose has been left at home, for example. Now, regardless of what you think of these players, Spurs fans, forgive me if I'm wrong, but when you hear these sort of names, regardless of your opinion on them, that's your back 5 obviously including Lloris. But surely, if they're tearing all of that up, like if they're losing Trippier, a next right back has to come in, if it hasn't already. A next left back surely has to come in if it's Rose, because right now Spurs are probably just gambling with Vertonghen and Ben Davies, who signed a new deal. If Toby leaves, you probably need a centre half. If Davinson Sanchez and not Jan Vertonghen and is it Foyth, if they're not going to be given opportunities. So I say all of this, but I don't know what they're going to do if they tear up that defence. I'm a big fan of defence wins you stuff and gets you somewhere. So I don't know, but I would say right now the two spots I believe are just definites is Liverpool and City. I'd give it to Spurs on what I've just said, but really just the first two names. The other three, I'm not really. I can't. They can get it, but I'm not really like. I feel like I'm not telling you the truth, sort of thing, and I'm not a guy to do all of them thing there. So, thank you for your question, my guy. As usual, you're always. Don't think I ever forget, man. Let me do the heart thing on YouTube, because I don't think you've ever missed a Q&A, and people like you, bro, make this thing. So yeah, Raphael's asked, what's your thoughts on the potential of Pedro Porro of Genoa? Have to do my research, my guy. I'm not gonna say and act like I know my man, so you probably I need to ask your opinion, bro. I don't know. To be fair with you, You've also asked another question. You've asked me what's my opinions on Bustos of Independe. You think he can be an alternative to Bellerin? Have to watch him under the microscope. Not really. Yeah, I haven't really got an informed opinion, if I'm completely honest with you. I'll take your word for it. I haven't been paying attention to his club campaign, so I'll do my research. Raphael, apologies, man, 'cause I'm not even able to answer the questions you're asking me, but I'd rather tell you the truth than be a liar. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know things I don't. You get it, my guy? Nonetheless, big up yourself for the question. Jordan's asked, we're not used to hearing from the higher-ups at Arsenal. Do you think now that they can't hide behind Wenger, we will see the board take more responsibility for things happening at the club? I see what you mean. Because whether it's Kroenke, and I'm not defending no one, but whether it's Kroenke, Glazides, Wenger, people speculated, people had their own ideas, who did what, it's all you, it's all that. Some people blamed everyone, some people it's Wenger, it's all Wenger, Wenger's letting this thing down. Some people it's Wenger's covering up for the Wenger because he loves the club and the fans and Arsenal and all the romantic sort of sides. He's not saying certain things, he's taking the rap, it's all the rest of them. So yeah, and obviously adding the media aspect to all of that nonsense as well. So I get you on the basis that you look at Glazides, you look at Wenger, they're gone. I won't say these people that have come into the roles are unknown, but in regards to Arsenal backroom, they're unknown. Raul, in terms of they've only just started working here more or less. You've got Eddie, you've got all of these guys, and they're going to need to earn their stripes, because that's the one thing about people leaving and whatnot. When we are going season in, season out, and certain things are not changing, you have to look at like, who's the common denominator here? What's going on? Personally, I think it all comes from the top down. It doesn't matter if your manager wants to win the league. If your owner don't, necessarily, and speculation, doesn't, he's not going to be backed up, and that culture is going to filter down. If it's active, if the owner actively wants to win stuff and pursue stuff and things, I'm not saying you have to spend galactical money, but it will come down. The intent, the mission statement, the ethos will come from the top down. So we'll see how it goes, but there's one common denominator at this club at the top, my guys. So that's the one overriding factor. Everything, like I said, it stems from him, but at the same time, we can't. There's not a single person you can blame, like singular, like it's all your fault, in my opinion, over these last few years as to why Arsenal have not won major trophies since moving to the Emirates. I feel there's people you can place the blame at. I feel there's people that are common denominators. I feel there's people that themes remain, and I feel there's, like I said, it comes from the top down, but you can't. We haven't got here through one person's decisions. We've got here through years of collective mismanagement, and we're trying to get them years back. Big up yourself. You said, who's your favourite under-23 player at Arsenal? Bear, bro. Bears. So I'm gonna leave out the young players that have technically been promoted. So Nelson, Eddie, and Joe, and that. It's difficult because I'm a big fan of Tyrese John Jules. Big fan. You can't have double barrel name and not be good footballer. Come on now. Like Tyrese John Jules a bad boy. Who else is there? Do I really need to tell you Saka and Amici? I love the both of them. Want them to develop. If it happens here, really want it to. If it doesn't, gonna support them all the way. Probably be them. I like Ben Shafe. I know he's gone out on loan. I like Danny Ballard. I really like Danny Ballard. Difficult. Sam Greenwood in the under-18s. I know you asked me 23s, but under-18s, Sam Greenwood, really like him. He'll be on the 18s next season, I believe. But Malcolm Ibowe as well, very young winger. Previously at Chelsea, very exciting. He's got good size on him, good pace. Can play on either side, can score bangers, can hit a free kick. Lot of early potential there, so probably them. But there's bare, man. If I sat down and thought more, you'll get different answers, my GG. So thank you for your question. Ashley Stanley's asked, do you see us challenging in the next three years? I assume you mean for the league. And if so, what has to change right now? 3 years, it could happen, but I don't know. I can't predict the future. If I see areas addressed and actively addressed, first and foremost, we need to address the holes in our side. We need to address the holes in our side to make us move forward, get people out, get people in. After that, when we've got it all in a good sort of vibe, and Emery's been allowed to mold the team to his image, then we possibly look at, okay, we've got an established sort of stability now. Can we improve in certain areas? Can we get a better left back? What's this right back saying? This centre mid winger, do you get it, people? Then there's that. That will probably take us into the season after. That would be the third year, where if we've bought right, we've built the squad, we've got balance, everybody's got game management and all the principles required, then why not? If all of that can happen in 3 years, my guy, if we can learn how to defend, if we can have mentality, if we can all these several things, then why not? But right now, based on what I'm seeing so far, as much as I'm positive about transfers, if you're asking me now to look into the future in 3 years, in which I'll be 27, I can't see it, my guy. I can't see it. I hope so. I hope some of these young players that we're gonna put our hat around this season by then have blossomed and whatnot. And we bring in players under the same remit. But if I'm honest, my guy, not a clue. Big up Daniel TV. He's always here, man. If we did have 40 million, who would you buy and sell based on their valuations? You would have a larger total spend if you sell players, bro. The typical. I don't like, bro. I respect you. I don't think I have to name the typical players you see in their papers linked with moves and whatnot. If we only had 40 million, I don't know who I'd buy at this moment in time, my guy. You put me on the spot, but I'd probably just look to get a centre half and a left back. I'd probably ask my scouts to do their job and bring me lower profile guys so we can make the money stretch. But there would be the two areas first and foremost I would address. In regards to selling, I would try to get the likes of Mustafi, Jenkinson, one of Mesut Ozil and Mkhitaryan off the wage bill, which the club's probably trying, but it's a ridiculous. It can't be done. El Nene. These are the maddest thing is the players that could be sold for money are on wages where no one wants you. Players have underperformed, high wages, and the lack of real resale value. So, not really gonna get anywhere with that, bro. Thank you for your question, though. Amin's asked, do you think Arsenal will fall out of the top 6 if we have a bad window? And love the content, best and realest YouTuber out there. Big up yourself, Emery. Thank you very much, bro. Well, when you're seeing what Leicester's doing, you're seeing what Wolves is just doing as a club. West Ham, fair play to get Fornals, and I can never say his name, but Hillier, or is it pronounced Ilya or something? It's not pronounced with the H. The striker they've signed, he's a physical handful and he's got technical abilities. I wouldn't say I don't think we're gonna fall out the top 6 this season, but I'll never rule out anything. I don't know the future, but if we continue to not improve, where other sides are able to spend and they've clearly got intent and whatnot, like Leicester, I'm not saying they're going to take us out of it, but they've got an active intent to improve as a side. That's why they held on to Maguire for so long. They want to be a competitive side in the Premier League relative to their own ambitions. I'm not saying they want to win leagues, which ironically they have before Spurs. That's for diabolical. Banter aside, you get it. Of course, if that continues and you're seeing the squad Leicester's kind of building and that, they might trouble us. I say Wolves because, you know, Mendes, Nuno, what that club is trying to do. It will probably be a team out of the blue that troubles us. You've seen Newcastle have been linked with owners, or not this season. So I'm too looking too far ahead in that one. But I don't think for this season, but you never know, my guy, man. Because at the end of the day, people... I've just said it, we've spoken about moving players on and doing this and that. If the squad stays the same, you'd imagine that not top 4, but top 6 would still be on the agenda. This is the side that literally finished in the top 6 that could have made top 4 if they didn't bottle it. So I was still inclined to believe that they still do that. Weston's asked, do you trust Emery to fully bring his natural pressing style like the beginning of the season, or do you feel it isn't a viable option with our personnel at the moment, barring a major squad overhaul? I trust him, but at the end of the day, it's not about how much I trust him or how good he is at. It's about how good he is at relaying his message. Because people can see, for instance, Pep Guardiola is a great coach, and you can yourself. But if he wasn't an effective communicator, if he wasn't able to get his ideas across, if he wasn't able to delegate to his coaches, he wouldn't get anywhere. Because you think about it, people. What is a manager? They're giving you instructions. Think about it, if you talk into a way where you're speaking gibberish, I can't understand it. I'm not going to do what you want to see on a football field. On one hand, I don't feel the players are competent enough because whether it's defending consistently. I'm not talking about praising these lot for occasional games like against Chelsea, Spurs, United when we beat them. Isolated incidences and in the cup run. Until them isolated incidences become the minimum and the benchmark for these players, regardless of ability, and we stop. They stop. I wouldn't say they seek praise, but we stop praising players for doing basic stuff that a team that wants to aspire should. We're not going to get anywhere. The team has to buy into what he has to do, and I see players in the side. It's like there's been times I can tell. I haven't been at the ground obviously, but I can tell Emery has told these lot everything, giving you everything. They've gone out there and they've messed it up. So it comes down to the players. I do think the players can play a pressing style. And it comes down to his coaching a bit. In fact, a lot. I guess I do think we're here to play the pressing style. Maybe he changed his tactics because he wanted to do something else. Maybe there was fatigue with the players and whatnot. But you'd think the players, if that is the case, they've had a year on the Emery. They're ready to go again. So I would say that I would like us to keep elements of, or get back to the elements of, you remember Wenger ball when it was in his prime, but marry that with Emery's, you know how Emery, he understands the opponent and all of these things. I want to see like against Bayern Munich, I'd like to see us counter-attack more often because there is isolated incidences. We've counter-attacked in last season to great effect. We'd like to see that a bit more. Then obviously married in the pressing, we'd have a decent sort of philosophy in that, together with better players. Who knows what could happen? You see it? It's a good question, Weston, man. I really enjoyed answering that one, to be fair. Thank you very much for your question, my guy. And another consistent guy always in this thing. THC is also asked. I'm not going to expand on that. I don't know about none of that. Another consistent one. You've said, what's your opinion on the importance of looking up when the ball... Sorry, it's early. What is your opinion on the importance of looking up with the ball and understanding the value of running into spaces for the right reason? Well, I get you to ask me this. You know it. You know the answer, my guy. You know it. The importance of looking up is to see pitches. Football is about pitches. The best players are the quickest thinkers. So naturally, if you're able, before you get the ball, if you can see a picture, you've done it. You need to get your head up. The best players are players that get their heads up early and obviously runs off the ball. Look at David Silva. We all praise David Silva and Messi, but look what they do without it. The goal David Silva scored the other day, it was a banger. And it was put on a sixpence for him. But look at the movement. Do you get it, people? That makes the difference. Like that is the difference. So for me, players should understand the value of running into spaces for the right reasons and doing things for the right reasons. Understand the importance of looking up. And for me, more so than when you have the ball, you should always know what to do off the ball or understand your teammates. If, I don't know, Joe Bloggs makes that run, I'm a right back, Joe Bloggs cuts inside, he's a winger, he wants to get inside, gives me the free flank, I'm going to go. See, you see it, I'm going to go all the way up there because I'm going to assess the situation and be like, okay, there's space in behind. Let me go and try and get crosses in. Now, I used to be a decent crosser. I remember when I used to proper practice that all day, every day. And then put balls into the box, you get. So there's definitely a very big importance on that, my guy. Ollie's asked, what will we do once we get another bad injury at the back again this season? Why have we... I don't understand the second bit, my guy, but you've wrote, why... I think, apologies, man. I don't think you made sense in the second part, bro. But you said we need another centre-half. I agree. If we do get another injury, assuming nobody comes in, it will be a bit of a peak one. My God, I can't lie to you. I'm inclined to believe that another centre-half's coming in. I mean, surely we're not trying to go into the next season with the current centre-half options we have. Shout out to Holding, Socrates, the untested Mavropanos, but the rest don't fill me with any confidence. So if they don't fill me, Emery, who does all the analytical stuff, he's bound to see that some of these players he can't move forward with. So fingers crossed, the centre-half comes in. I shouldn't say I'm confident. I've got to be confident that centre half's coming in because it's almost borderline stupidity if a centre half isn't signed. And I'm excluding Saliba. I know he's to come the next season. next question. Thank you. You lot are asking some great questions today, bro. I can't even lie. Some Yahas asks, DG, do you think we should focus on bringing the youth players and build for the next 5 years, or buy foreign players for the short term? It's a bit of both. I'd say we put our hat around the Reece Nelsons, the Sakas, Amichis, John Jules, Joe Willock, and all these other young players in and about, the Martinelli, all these young players. Put your hat on them. Not all of them are going to make it and develop people. Not all of these sick young players are going to make it here, but we need to give them a chance. We need to integrate youth into the team that's going to be here longevity-wise. When I say youth, I'm going to use the term loosely. When I say youth right now, obviously, the likes of Nelson and these sort of players come into the side, build and grow year on year out. Torreira and Guendouzi, yes, they're older and more experienced. I'm literally exaggerating that one on Guendouzi. But you look at their age, it ties into it. You look at Leno. Leno's a big man, he's irrelevant. But Leno's not the oldest of keepers. So, yeah, if we're bringing in Saliba next season, he's going to be 19 years of age. Holding will be, 24 by then. Bellerin's not the oldest. Do you get it? Maitland-Niles is in the squad. So if you can marry these sort of players and make that, I wouldn't say the core, but the base of the squad, and you sign some players that are ready to hit the ground running, 26 to 28-year-old winger, midfielder, centre-half, that wants to win, dies to win, rough around edges. If you marry the squad with a couple of them to lieutenants in the trenches, as I always say, that would be the great thing, man. I don't ever really advocate for buying players for short-term success unless it's mad scenarios. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo, you know they're not going to make their money back, and you know he's at the end of his career, but it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Or if we needed to sign a third choice keeper, for example, people, typically they're going to be 36 Joe Blogs that's been on the bench 10 years at Oldham or something. No disrespect. But do you get it? Matthias has asked, DG, what would be your formation and starting lineup, including players we are likely to sign, such as Everton, Ceballos, and Tierney? Right now, I'd say 4-3-3. Everton on the left, or Bambian on the right, or one of them things like that. Lacazette through the middle, but it's inside strikers, people. Do you get it? It's not wingers. I want them to be inside forwards, so let the fullbacks overlap. So it'd probably be that. But that's a good question. You put me on the spot, man. I should pre-ask. If you got a crazy question like that, you need to give me 3 days notice, man. Cause that was a madness. That put me on the spot. It's too early for that one, my guy. Great question though. Ceballos would play in the 10. Ceballos would play in the 10 or in the midfield, free midfield role. Not free midfield role. If there's 3 midfielders, he'll be one of them. If not a 10. Tierney's obviously going to play at left back. There'd be a problem if we put him somewhere else. That's what he's signed to do for us, allegedly, if he does. Abu's asked, how important is pre-season and how significant is it that new players like Tierney, Ceballos aren't available to take part in pre-season? Well, Ceballos is kind of fit because he's been playing for the under-21s, Spain. And Tierney's not exactly, he's injured, he's not exactly fit, so it quite be irrelevant. But in terms of gelling into the side, getting to know your teammates, I'd say that's the value of pre-season. Pre-season is not about fitness anymore. Obviously, players are unfit, lacking match fitness, and all of these sort of things, but it's more tactical. It's more how you gel and things like that. So there's always an importance, and the quicker you can get players in the core of your players, the more time you have to work with them. Football's about fine margins, people. That's what it could come down to. Obviously, Liverpool and Spurs, Liverpool and City wasn't this, but maybe, I don't know, City coming in an extra week last pre-season and learning something tactically for that week longer made the difference. We won't see it, but the difference in regards to them pulling back the league and saving us from Liverpool doing the double, which would have been big. Shout out to them for winning the champs though, because if Spurs won that, it would have been a madness. But yeah. Jeremy Hills asks, DG, which young top prospect do you think will have a breakout season, i.e. 20 league games? I hope it's Reece Nelson. AG22 said, should we move on from Kieran Tierney? Celtic seem not to want to budge. As football fans, that's what we know. There might be things going on in the background. What I will say is I want him, but I do hope there's a plan B, plan C, plan D, because I'm not saying it's going to happen, but things happen in football. And next club might come in and blow us out the water. This is all hypothetical. He might decide he don't want to sign for Arsenal no more. He might fail. His manager said he wouldn't, but he might fail a medical. If he doesn't fail a medical, the team sees something they don't necessarily agree with or are fond of, and it gives them concerns. So I'd like to hope there's plan Bs, plan Cs, etc., because that's the nature of the game. Sean's asked, youth or money? I'm a bigger. Come on, man. I came up with Arsene Wenger as my manager, so I'd prefer a balance, ideally. But I'd say youth to answer your question. Moving to Twitter now to answer these questions. This phone is really on its last legs. Wow. Where is my own DMs? Way too many DMs here. Trying to find. I apologize, people. I'm trying to find. You know, when I do that tweet when I ask you your questions, and clearly I need to leave Twitter alone because so many. What the hell is it? People, this is a madness. Like, I apologize. Bear with me because I cannot find it. I need to search my tweets. Here we go, people. We got there in the end. Apologies for the delay. Brandon's asked, thoughts on Saliba being loaned back for a year? I personally really like the idea. Personally, it is what it is. I would like him at my club because I love young players and I'm being selfish. But maybe another year will help him playing games. The confidence and another year, the confidence it brings because he's still relatively inexperienced. That extra year might help him in the Prem. Obviously, we need a centre-half at this club. Whether another one comes in or not, I hope so, but it's a different story. By that logic, people might forget that Saliba's a young, untested young player for all his potential, and they might place all the expectations and desires that they want to see in their defence on him, and he's still learning. He will, even next season, he'll have good games, but there'll be games he's turned inside out, and people might turn on players, as you see with certain fans all the time. So, yeah, man, it maybe is a good thing, and I've seen it from the other logic. If it's up to me, it'd be at the club, because yeah, man, even if he does, regardless of him wanting to stay there for a year to develop and all that stuff, he's not worse than some of these options here. I'd rather move forward with some young players than certain others. You've also asked, if Emery fails to secure Champions League again, who would you realistically replace him with? Great question, not a clue, my guy, man. That's a question for when it happens, man. That's a good question. Tavin's asked, would you use Iwobi as a winger or a midfielder like Nigeria? Both, my guy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan of Iwobi, but he wouldn't play he would play consistently for me, but he wouldn't play I don't think, like Xhaka to a degree, I don't think if I was his manager he'd play a lot. He would play consistently, he'd come off the bench, he'd start a lot of games, he'd be a good rotation option. But I would use him in both. I would actually use him in the 10 role and I say 10, midfield, attacking mid or whatever, and the winger position. I would utilise him in both, to be honest. Looks like a different animal in that 10 role, 3 role, sorry, for Nigeria. Khan Best has asked, which players do you think Emery is talking about in regards to expensive players? I personally, it could be anyone, but I think it's Dani Ceballos, which, when he said the big player stuff, expensive, I think he's alluding to Zaha, but expensive is subjective. Is it expensive in relation to Arsenal's reported budget? Is it expensive if we just cut the reading between the line stuff, you're saying expensive, so 50 plus million or 40, let's just say 45 up. I don't know, my guy, but I hope it's someone. I hope expensive correlates to being good, because we've spent expensive sort of money on players and they just haven't hit the ground running, man. Papaya's asked, if we get Everton, we'll only have him and Nelson as natural wingers. Because of this, I think Emil Smith-Rowe should be used wide. Emil Smith-Rowe came up as a winger. He's able to play there, my guy. He will be a 10 or an 8 long term, but yeah. Yeah, man, if we can get one of them wingers with Nelson, there's Saka to be given chances, and maybe Amici, I think we'll have done enough out there, man. You've got to remember, Iwobi is likely to play significantly on the left-hand side, assuming he doesn't play in the 10 row as well. And yeah, man, obviously a lot of the midfielders at our club, you could say they can be used out wide, they could be used in midfield, so it's a tricky sort of way of getting around it. Back to AFC's asked, with Danny Rose leaving Spurs, knowing that Daniel Levy, as a petty guy he is, do you think we should get this Kieran Tierney business wrapped up soon? Yeah, you could say that, but you'd imagine that. No disrespect to Kieran Tierney, all the clubs have scouted him over the years, and I don't know why anyone's not taking a chance, because it was a bit like Van Dijk for a minute at Celtic. I don't know how long he was at Celtic, but he was at Celtic for a second, and people didn't really take a chance, even when he went Southampton. And now look, so maybe people have run the rule over him and there's concerns or whatever, but I want to get it wrapped up down the line and over the line and wrapped up as much as you, because as much as we hear we're close and these things, you're never close, and you're never close until it's done. Dowell, or I'm not fighting, better yet, forgive me. You've asked, do you think Juventus will turn out to be the right choice for Deluded? I think so, because you know the expectations that comes with Juventus, the way of life will be good. Obviously, if you're a defender and you go to Italy, that's the university of defending. And I mean, he'll still, what's to say he's going to be, realistically, he's not going to be at Juventus for the rest of his career. He'll be there for a significant period and become a linchpin within that side. But what's to say he doesn't, he does, I know his agent said the Barcelona stuff is nonsense, but was nonsense and only the media. But what's to stop him going Barcelona or Madrid one day? What's to actually stop him going back, I'm reaching here, but Holland? What's to say he won't come to England or whatnot? He's still extremely young, man. Max has asked, thoughts on Overmars' comments on selling Ozil and buying Hakim Ziyech. I've made the comments on it. I've made a video on it. On one hand, he's trying to drum up interest for his client. On the other hand, regardless of your opinion on Mesut Ozil, if I was someone at the club, I like Overmars and I wanted him here, but I'd have a quiet little word and say, yo, that's kind of disrespectful still. But yeah. Don't think I've missed out anybody. In fact, I think I missed out one question, because this isn't actually missing out a question. This is me. I was on my YouTube today and I saw a comment. Where is it? I'm going to find you. There it is. Mizzy Miz. Hoping you read this out on your Q&A show. Big up DG. YouTube's Kante. Loving the work you're doing. Keep it up, man. Don't know, my guy. You've said, after Saliba, Everton in brackets, maybe, hopefully Kieran Tierney and possibly Ceballos, we're still hoping to sell a few. Everybody knows we need a centre-half. You've gone on to ask me, I'm sorry, I've got to skip out a bit, people. You said, no disrespect to this Pape Cisse guy, but surely we should be looking at Mangla Sarr, Ivan Ndika, Camara of Marseille, and these sort of players. We know there's something in the water over there. What do you think of this, DG? Bless and thanks. Big up yourself, Mizzy Miz, man. I mean, thank you very much for your positive comments. Some of the names you said, I would like them at my club. But if you look at Kamara, for the same reason Saliba's staying in France, Kamara might have that, because Kamara's very raw in his game. He does make mistakes. Like, I really like him and he's doing a lot, and I think he's going to be a good player. Like you said, we should be looking there in general and getting things out there, because it's a gold mine out there. Like, what have we got? So I fully agree with you, not just for centre-half, but in general, my guy. I definitely feel that. This Cisse guy, I've never seen him in my life. So if scouts, I hope scouts have done their job and done their due diligence. At the end of the day, they're paid to watch football, and everybody's an unknown until they become a regular. I mean, you look at Vidic. Vidic is you mentioned it, Vidic to a United fan, but when he came, I'm sure there was a teething period. And did he come from Spa at Moscow or something? It's a bit different, but people might have and ahed and all of these sort of things. As Arsenal fans, we've had players come from everywhere. Some of the maddest places, and they've gone on. So first and foremost, I don't really care if a man's bought for 2 million or whatnot, as long as he's competent and consistent. And I'd actually say confident in the right ways at my football club now, because I see confident players, but I don't see confidence, if that makes sense. So I've actually made some videos on a couple of the names you said. I would like them, but at the end of the day, if the club go out there and reserve Saliba and for next season, and we bring in a centre-half in terms of a body, I can't really complain realistically, because if we bring in technically 2 centre-halves, one staying out for the season, you've obviously got Kieran Tierney, hopefully we sign a left-back. I won't personally be able to complain, to be fair with you. I think I've answered everybody's questions, so people, please allow me to get out of here. People, DG, I'm out.